Are you coming to the tree where they strung up a man, the same murder three? Strange things that happen here, how stranger would it be if we met at midnight in the hanging tree?
Welcome to Strange Things, broadcasting from the Raimundo Rios Mayo Library in Arkansas. Welcome back to Strange Things. Tonight we're going to be talking about superstition, something a lot of people have, but they don't seem to want to admit that they do. What got me started on this idea, my wife had bought a brand new rocking chair for her classroom. With school only a few days away, and she wanted to have something to sit in, something comfortable, some assembly required. So I got the box of rocking chair out of the back of my truck, drug it into the kitchen, opened it up, and proceeded to build a rocking chair. Not IKEA, but still some assembly was required. I get all through with the rocking chair. I've got it sitting there assembled, and I reached out and I pushed it one time to make it rock back and forth, and then I immediately grabbed it and stopped it. Subconsciously, I was thinking, I better not rock that chair if nobody's sitting in it. That's a bad thing. Why is it bad? What makes it bad? The superstition goes that if you rock a rocking chair that you're not sitting in, you're going to encourage something to come from the other world and sit in the chair to enjoy the movement. What this other thing is, a spirit, a ghost, maybe even a demon, who knows? But that's the story. That's the superstition. And even though I tend not to be too caught up in that sort of thing, I still could not make that chair rock without sitting in it. So I sat down and rocked back and forth and give it the test drive. But the whole thing is, don't rock a rocking chair that you're not sitting in. It's bad luck. Excessive, credulous belief in and reverence for supernatural beings. That's the official definition of a superstition. Beginner's luck. That is considered a superstition amongst a lot of gamblers and ball players, various sporting events. Usually it's grumbled by an expert who just lost a game to a novice. Beginner's luck, they will say. It's the idea that a newbie are usually likely to win when they try out a sport, game, or activity for the first time. Beginners might come out ahead in some cases. Beginners might come out ahead in some cases because the novice is less stressed out about winning. Too much anxiety, after all, can hamper performance, or it could just be statistically a fluke. However, I have seen many instances where somebody does a particular activity for the first time and they act as if they've been doing it their entire lives. And then later they go back and they try it again, and it doesn't seem to work out as well the second go-around. Another superstition. Find a penny, pick it up, and all day long you'll have good luck. Well, this little ditty may have arisen because finding money is lucky in and of itself. If nothing else, you have 1 whole cent. Now, depending on the shape of the penny when you pick it up, it could be worth a lot of money. How old it is, how rare it is, and if it is really a penny. Because we do not have pennies in the United States. We have cents. What's the difference, you may say? Well, pennies are from England. A penny is a certain quantity of a pound note, whereas a cent is 1% of a dollar. That's why it's called a 1 cent. It is 1% of a dollar. So when you see that little copper nugget laying on the floor and you bend down and pick it up, you're not picking up a penny, you're picking up a cent. Another superstition. Don't walk under a ladder. Frankly, this superstition is pretty practical. A guy working on the ladder might drop something on your head. But one theory holds that the superstition arises from the Christian belief in the Holy Trinity, since a ladder leaning against the wall forms a triangle. Breaking that triangle was considered blasphemous. Then again, another popular theory is that a fear of walking under a ladder has to do with the resemblance to a medieval gallows. See, back in the old times when they went to hang a person, they didn't drop you from a platform like they show in the movies. They also didn't use a rope with 13 knots in it, that twisted hangman's noose that everybody's familiar with from the cowboy movies. Well, they didn't use those either. When they hung a person in England, the judge would say, "You'll be hung by the neck until you are dead." Now, there's reason that they said that. They didn't use the hangman's knot. They just used a rope. They put it around your neck, and they had you step off of a ladder. So you'd hang there for a while. A minute, several minutes, sometimes as much as 20 minutes, as you slowly strangled to death, because that's how they used to execute people. I know that doesn't have to do with superstition, but that is why here in the United States they invented that bulky hangman's noose that was used to break the neck. Okay, black cats. If a black cat crosses your path, that's supposed to be bad luck as well. As companion animals for humans for thousands of years, cats play all sorts of mythological roles. In ancient Egypt, cats were revered as gods. Most likely the superstition arises from old belief in witches and their animal familiars, which were often said to take the form of domestic animals like cats. During the Middle Ages, cats were driven out of Europe. This happened just shortly before the rats came in from Asia and brought the Black Plague to Europe. Now, if they'd have kept the cats around, maybe they wouldn't have had such a bad problem with the plague. A rabbit's foot will bring you luck. Talismans and amulets are a time-honored way of fending off evil. Consider crosses and garlic that are supposed to keep vampires away. Rabbit's feet as talismans may hark back to the early Celtic tribes in Britain. They may also arise from hoodoo, a form of African-American folk magic, and superstition that blends Native American, European, and African traditions. Well, the rabbit's foot wasn't too lucky for the rabbit. After all, he had 4, and he managed to lose his life. So, really, how lucky can a rabbit's foot be? There's an old saying that bad luck comes in threes. A couple things will go wrong, so now you start looking for that next little bad thing to happen. For example, anytime 2 actors or 2 comedians or 2 people famous pass away, immediately everybody starts saying, who will number 3 be? And surprisingly, there almost always seems to be a number 3. I don't know if it's really superstition or if there's something going on out there that we don't understand. Whatever the case may be, that is a superstition that bad luck comes in threes. Be careful with that mirror. If you break a mirror, you're going to doom yourself to 7 years of bad luck. This superstition seems to arise from the belief that mirrors don't just reflect your image, they hold a bit of your soul as well. That belief led to people in the old days of the American South to cover mirrors in a house when someone died, lest their soul become trapped in this time frame. The women of the old European castles and the big fancy houses, they would have a mirror. They called it a looking glass. And whenever they would bring in some servants from the local neighborhood, young kids, 12, 14 years old, and these kids had never seen a mirror before. So the lady of the house would immediately admonish them, saying, if you break this mirror, you'll have 7 years of bad luck, so be careful with it. So don't you know those serving girls were very careful when it came to dealing with mirrors. They didn't want 7 years of bad luck. We're going to take a brief pause here, play a few commercials, and let y'all catch your breath. We'll be right back after these messages. You're listening to Strange Things with Chris James. Do you have skin? Would you like to take better care of it? Call Lourdes James, independent beauty consultant, and set up an appointment. Call 723-3019. If your vision isn't what it used to be, and you're not sure you're seeing Bigfoot or just your neighbor mowing his lawn, stop on by Del Norte Optical, 107 Calle del Norte, just across the street from the Embassy Suites. You should be able to see what you're looking at. Are you in the market for a good cup of coffee? Make that a great cup of coffee. Swing on by the Organic Man Coffee Shop, 1002 Iturbide, Suite number 7. If you listened to the show a couple of weeks ago, you will know that coffee is actually fruit juice. So swing on by the Organic Man Coffee Shop and get your cup of hot fruit juice. Not a coffee drinker? They also have hot tea, hot chocolate, and some sweet pastries if you're looking for any. Great place to have a conversation with friends. The Organic Man Coffee Shop, 1002 Iturbide, Suite number 7. Remember, life is too short to drink bad coffee.
No, don't say goodbye. Stay with us. This is Arcanesa Radio. Quédate con nosotros. Estás escuchando Arcanasa Radio.
You're listening to Arcanasa Radio. And welcome back. Now here's everybody's favorite number, 666. 3 sixes in a row give some people the chills. It's a superstition that harkens back to the Bible. In the book of Revelations, 666 is given as the number of the beast, and is often interpreted as the mark of Satan and the sign of the end of times. According to State University of New York at Buffalo anthropologist Philip Stevens, the writer of Revelations was writing to persecuted Christians in code, so the numbers and the names in the book are contemporary references. 3 sixes in a row is probably the numeric equivalent of the Hebrew letters for the first century Roman Emperor Nero. It is not the devil's number, as a lot of people claim, and doesn't really bring bad luck. 666 is not the number of Satan. It is best described as a number of lawlessness, secularity, atheism, and sin, all things which many members of the human race indulge in. Emblazoning the number 666 on your skin, or affixing it to your screen name, does not make you a Satanist. It just makes you look strange. Back when Social Security numbers first came out, people believed that this was the mark of the beast, as well as just about any identification number ever dreamed up. It doesn't take very long for people to latch on to a particular number and attach it to everything. I recall when George Bush was the president, somebody added up the letters in his name, and somehow by turning things left and right, they said that his name added up to 666. And they've said the same thing about Obama. They've probably said the same thing about every president who's ever been in the White House. Everyone has time on their hands, will sit down, they will do the math, and somehow they will come up with this idea that so-and-so is the Antichrist because his initials come out to, and then they have that favorite number. Now, knocking on wood. This phrase is almost like a verbal talisman designed to ward off bad luck after tempting fate. The fixation on wood may come from old myths about good spirits in trees, or from an association with the Christian cross. Similar phrases abound in multiple languages, suggesting that the desire not to upset a spiteful universe is very common. Someone will say something about having a good luck, having a good time, good business, and then they will immediately say, knock on wood, as if simply by saying the phrase, it will somehow appease the wood spirits, or perhaps it's God they're trying to appease. They won't even go through the motion anymore of actually knocking on the wood or touching a piece of wood. Half the time people can't even find a piece of wood. It's plastic or laminate. Of course, I have seen people knock on the side of their head and don't know if they're trying to be funny or if that really means something. But yes, knocking on wood is a anti-bad luck device. Make a wish with a wishbone. This tradition of turkey bone tug-of-war goes back a long way. Legend has it that first-century Romans used to fight over dried wishbones, which they believed were good luck, and which accidentally would get broken, ushering in the idea that whoever had the largest piece of the broken bone would get their wish. Bird bones have always been used in divination throughout history, with a supposed soothsayer throwing the bones and reading their patterns to predict the future. Crossing your fingers. Those wishing for luck will often cross one finger over another, a gesture that's said to date back to early Christianity. The story goes that two people used to cross index fingers when making a wish, a symbol of support from the friend to the person making the wish. The tradition gradually became something people could do on their own. These days, just saying crossed fingers is enough to get the message across. Don't open an umbrella inside. Opening an umbrella indoors is supposed to bring bad luck, though the origins of this belief are a little murky. One story goes, in ancient Egypt, umbrellas were not used for rain. They were used as protection against the sun. Only royalty and priests were shielded from the sun. Opening an umbrella inside was supposed to offend the sun god and bring you disfavor. It's as if you've already got enough shade being inside, you don't need more shade from the sun, so knock it off. One day at work, just to be me, I had my official green umbrella that I carried around with me on occasion. Didn't like getting rained on. And so I popped that sucker open in the middle of the muster room, and immediately the supervisor tells me, "Close that thing, you're going to bring us all bad luck." I found that humorous, but I did close the umbrella right away. Don't want to tempt fate. Don't open your umbrellas inside. Friday the 13th. If you're not scared of Friday the 13th, you should at least be flummoxed by the word used to describe those who are. Frigid risked escaphobics. I'm not even going to try and say that again. That is the official term that describes someone who is afraid of Friday the 13th. Friday has long been considered an unlucky day. According to Christian tradition, Jesus was supposed to have been crucified on a Friday, and 13 has a long history as an unlucky number. According to Stress Management Center and Phobia Institute in North Carolina, about 17 million people fear Friday the 13th. And 13 is just considered to be an unlucky number. Now, the Apollo 13, they didn't launch on a Friday the 13th. They actually launched on the 11th, I believe. However, yes, it was April 11th, 1970. But the time of the launch, they launched at 13:13 Central Standard Time. That would be 1:13 in the afternoon. The mission went downhill from there. Those of you that don't know about Apollo 13, they almost lost 3 astronauts. The capsule began to leak. They lost their oxygen supply. See the movie. It's pretty good. The Knights Templar were all rounded up on Friday the 13th in 1113. However, they only got the ones living in France. The Knights Templar were throughout Europe, and a lot of them escaped. What had happened was Philip le Bel, which means Philip the Fair, fair as in complexion, not as in his dealings with other people. Philip le Bel was deep in debt to the knights, and he determined that it would be to his advantage if he could get them convicted of heresy. Because back then, when the Inquisition was going on, if you accused someone of heresy and they were found guilty, you got some of their property. So Philip le Bel thought that if he could accuse the Knights Templar of heresy, they would all be rounded up and he would be a rich man, because the knights had tons of money. Strangely enough, after they had tortured the knights considerably long time, Philip le Bel got zero in the way of money. They could not find the Knights Templars' treasure. They couldn't find their vast fleet of ships. Pretty much everything they had vanished into the unknown, which has led a lot of people to believe that maybe their treasure is buried on the Oak Island in Nova Scotia, but we'll save that for another night, perhaps sometime next month. There are also 13 steps up to the gallows, and the hangman's knot here in the United States has 13 loops in it. The loops were designed to twist the neck to the side, breaking the neck, which would immediately kill a person. It is said that if witches gather in a group, there will be 12 of them. That is a coven. But then with the devil, that would bring the number up to 13. The 13th Psalms concerns wickedness and corruption. One superstition states that it is unlucky for ships to set sail on Friday the 13th, and at least for a couple of ill-fated ships, that particular superstition seems to ring true. The HMS Friday, a ship that was constructed in the 18th century specifically to debunk the myth. They may have pushed the boundaries too far. Construction on the HMS Friday was begun on Friday the 13th. The ship was named after the unlucky day. The captain, they had actually searched this man out. His name was Jim Friday. He was hired to be her master. All the crew were hired on a Friday, and as she set sail on her maiden voyage in 1796, that's right, Friday, she vanished without a trace. Where the HMS Friday went to, no one knows, but it sounds as if they were really pushing their luck on that superstition. In more recent years, the Costa Concordia wrecked off the coast of Italy on January 13th, 2012, which just happened to be a Friday. Now, who is more superstitious, sailors or airmen? Don't set sail on a Friday. Don't let your wife or girlfriend come down to the airfield and watch you take off. Why don't sailors leave port on a Friday? Well, like I said, it's considered bad luck. The most well-known reason is a dislike of Friday is because it's believed that, once again, Christ was crucified on a Friday. Therefore, they consider Friday a bad day to begin a journey or to start any kind of a business deal. Many fishermen state that various ships lost at sea disembarked on a Friday. And then the pilots, well, they all have their lucky rabbit's feet, and their lucky cards, and their lucky numbers, especially during World War II. The pilots and the entire air crew were so superstitious they just about couldn't get them in the air. But then on the other hand, Jesus had 12 disciples, so with him that made 13. Mary Kay Ash started her business on a Friday the 13th. She built a giant building on the north side of Dallas that just happens to have 13 floors on it, and her office was on the 13th floor. So for some people, the number 13 is good luck as opposed to bad. After all, the 3 is considered to be a lucky number, It signifies strength because of the Trinity. The number 7 is a lucky number. If you roll a 7 in craps, you win. Now, they say if a bird flies in your window, it will bring bad luck. Or the bird just might go to the bathroom on your stuff, one or the other. A bride should be carried through the door of her new home for good luck. Now, I must admit, I did. I picked up my wife and carried her across the threshold, but I did this more as a tradition than seeking good luck. But then we have had pretty good luck, so maybe it works. Another superstition is that a cat will suck the air out of a baby. And cats are supposed to smell the milk on a baby's breath, and in their effort to get the aroma, they suck all of the air out of the kid, thus causing a baby to die. A lot of people I know, whenever they're about to have a newborn, will get rid of their cats, or they'll turn them from an inside cat into an outside cat. And if you ask them why, they'll say, we don't want the cat biting the baby, or we don't want the cat scratching the baby. They don't want to admit they don't want the cat sucking the life out of their baby. If you have a cricket in your house, it's considered good luck. In the Philippines, I believe it is, it's considered good luck if you find a snake inside your house. Now, the weird thing, about a week after we had been married, I found a small green snake scuttling about in the kitchen. How he got in the house, I have no idea. But like I said, we have seemed to have been having pretty good luck. If a dog is howling at night when someone in the house is sick, it's considered a bad omen. If you take a forked branch and you hold a fork in each hand, it will dip and point when it passes over water. Now, this is how dowsing got started. Dowsing rods originated in Germany during the 15th century when they were used in an attempt to find precious metals, such as gold or silver. Dowsing was used in South Dakota in the late 19th and 20th century to help homesteaders and farmers and ranchers locate water for their wells on their property. In the late 1960s, during the Vietnam War, some United States Marines used dowsing in an attempt to locate weapons and tunnels. I remember seeing this on the news and thinking, well, gee, if they'll do it, it must work. Because apparently every time these rods crossed, they would dig down. They almost always found a tunnel or a cache of weapons. As late as 1986, when 31 soldiers were killed by an avalanche during an operation in Norway, the Norwegian army attempted to locate the soldiers buried in the avalanche using dowsing as a search method. We're going to take a brief pause here, play a few commercials, and catch our breaths. We'll be right back after these messages. You're listening to Strange Things with Chris James. Do you have skin? Would you like to take better care of it? Call Lourdes James, independent beauty consultant, and set up an appointment. Call 723-3019. If your vision isn't what it used to be, and you're not sure you're seeing Bigfoot or just your neighbor mowing his lawn, stop on by Del Norte Optical, 107 Calle del Norte, just across the street from the Embassy Suites. You should be able to see what you're looking at. Looking for a great cup of coffee? Stop on by the Organic Man Coffee Shop, 1002 Eaterby Day, Suite number 7. And don't worry, they have plenty of parking at this location. Not a coffee drinker? How about some hot tea or hot chocolate? They also have sweet delicacies if you're looking for something to nibble on. It's a great place to meet with your friends, to have a conversation, or just sit back, relax, and read a book. Organic Man Coffee Shop, 1002 Iturbide, Suite number 7. Remember, life is too short to drink bad coffee.
No, don't say goodbye. Stay with us. This is Arcanesa Radio. Quédate con nosotros. Estás escuchando Arcanesa Radio.
You're listening to Arcanesa Radio. And welcome back to the show. We're currently talking about superstitions, and some of the more colorful ones have been coming up. A groom seeing the bride before the wedding is supposed to be very bad luck. Yes, my wife went to great means to see to it that I did not see her until she was standing at the door to the church. We got married at the church that used to be at the mall, but it's no longer there now. It's a game arcade. On our 10th anniversary, we went back and we stood in one corner of the game arcade and had our picture taken. Everybody in there was looking at us like, those two people are nuts. Another wedding tradition, you're supposed to keep the top layer of a wedding cake. You're supposed to put it in the refrigerator and save it for 1 year. And then on your first anniversary, you're supposed to consume that top piece of wedding cake. Well, our top piece of wedding cake is still in our refrigerator. It's only been in there for 23 years. It's been in 3 different refrigerators. We kind of forgot to eat the thing, and so now it's become part of the family. Someday somebody's going to inherit that thing. They'll probably eat it and get sick. But, yes, weddings today, watch the bride, see how much effort they will go through to see to it that their husband-to-be does not see them before the big day. A horseshoe hung in the bedroom is supposed to keep nightmares away. A lock of hair from a baby's first haircut should be kept to bring good luck. A peculiar noise heard 3 times in succession at night means someone is going to die, especially if it's 3 gunshots. A person cannot drown before they have come to the surface and gone under 3 times. A ring around the moon means that rain will come in 3 days. And a sailor wearing an earring is not supposed to be able to drown. A shark pursuing a ship means bad luck, especially if there are sick people on board. If you keep a small new potato in your pocket, it's supposed to help with arthritis. A squat bottle filled with nails, broken glass, or anything sharp should be placed in a wall or attic of a new house. This is supposed to cause pain to a witch should she try to approach the house. After receiving a container of food, the container should never be returned empty. Okay, next time I go to a plate sale, well, I'm coming back with the empty styrofoam plate full of something, scraps or bread crust or something. You're always supposed to say, so long, or I'll see you later. You're never supposed to say goodbye when leaving family members, or you might not ever see them again. An acorn at the window can help keep lightning out of your house. There was a lady who used to live out in West Texas who had a magic frying pan. Anytime there was a hailstorm, she would grab this frying pan and throw it out the back window at the back door of her house, and it would cause the hailstorm to stop. News crew had heard about this, and they thought, well, let's go interview this woman and see about this magic frying pan she has. And as luck would have it, they're there in the kitchen interviewing this woman when a hailstorm came along. The hail started bouncing off the roof, making enough noise you could hear it on the microphone. The camera crew looked out the window. This woman grabbed the frying pan, and ran to the back door, throws the frying pan out into the hailstorm, and would you believe the hailstorm stopped? The news crew was shocked. They couldn't believe this. It's like, holy cow, that frying pan actually works. Well, then the newsman decided he'd better check this out just a little closer. He went to a meteorologist and asked him, how long does a hailstorm usually last? And the guy said, yeah, about 2 minutes, which would be about the same amount of time it would take to grab a frying pan, run to the back door, and throw it into the yard. Perhaps it's not really a magic frying pan, but the old lady still throws it out the back door anytime there's a hailstorm. An itchy palm is supposed to mean you're about to get money. Ancient Roman soldiers often observed ants. If the ants were fighting, it meant the enemy was near. Animals are supposed to be able to talk at midnight on Christmas Eve. It's usually so noisy at midnight on Christmas Eve, they could be chattering up a storm and very few people would hear it. Of course, there's the old story that at the end of the rainbow there's supposed to be a pot of gold. Baseball. Talk about a bunch of superstitious people. Baseball players all have their lucky bat, or their lucky glove, their lucky hat, their lucky whatever. Drawing in the batter's box before each time at bat is supposed to be lucky. Watch the baseball players next time. See that the guy steps up to the plate. He'll take the end of his bat and he'll run it around in the dirt right there at the batter's box. If a batter is hit by a pitch, they should not rub or touch the spot of impact. You're not supposed to shave after the first postseason win. Watch the baseball players. They all suddenly start sprouting beards. Not stepping on the foul line when taking to the field. Not talking about a no-hitter or a perfect game while the game is in progress. Tapping one's bat on the home plate before each at-bat tryout. Lots of superstition when it comes to ball games. Before getting married, it is bad luck to buy your significant other a watch, as it symbolizes that the time of the relationship is running out. Cabbage or black-eyed peas on New Year's Day will somehow cause you to have good fortune for the rest of the year. I lived in Seabrook for several years, Seabrook, Texas. Every New Year's Eve, you'd go down to Rachel's, which was a little restaurant right on the edge of the bay, and you'd see all the blurry-eyed, hungover patrons there snarfing down a big old bowl of black-eyed peas, some of the most unappetizing, bland legumes on the planet. You have to put a lot of bacon and a lot of salt and pepper and a lot of other additives before black-eyed peas will taste like anything but hot cardboard as far as I'm concerned. But that is a New Year's tradition. Black-eyed peas or cabbage on New Year's Day. Cats are supposed to go crazy when a death occurs in their environment and consequently are to be kept out of the house on such occasions. Clothing wore inside out will bring you good luck. Now ask the pollywogs about how much good luck this brings them. For those of you that don't know, a pollywog is a sailor who hasn't crossed the equator yet. On that magical, mythical day when their ship crosses the equator, they have to have something called a shellback ritual. Now, this isn't just the United States Navy. This is darn near every navy in the world. The Germans do it, the French do it, the Spanish do it, the Canadians do it. They run these new sailors through a hazardous course of untold nastiness, and while the pollywogs are going through this ritual, they're all wearing their uniforms inside out and backwards. So I don't know if putting your clothes on inside out will really bring you back good luck. It doesn't seem to help these boys any at all. Everybody I know that was in the Navy, they still have that shellback card that they will they will display proudly, showing that they have gone through this weird ritual. Cold hands are supposed to mean a warm heart. That's a different one. Cover mirrors during a thunderstorm to prevent lightning coming into the house. I guess the reflection of the lightning is supposed to entice the lightning to come inside. Don't cut down a hawthorn tree or the fae will be angry. The fae are the fairy folk, especially in England and Europe, northern parts of Europe. You're not supposed to cut down a hawthorn tree. The fairies, the leprechauns, this upsets them. They will come to your house and cause bad things to happen to you. Don't kill spiders. Some people will put spiders all around their home, especially near windows and doors. This is supposed to keep demons out. If a demon is approaching your house, it's supposed to get hung up in the web instead of being able to get in through the window or the door. Don't let a black cat cross your path. I had 2 black cats, Hans and Fritz. Every day as I'm heading out the door to work, they would run back and forth across my path, sometimes both at the same time, sometimes in a crisscross manner. I never noticed any bad luck as a result of these 2 cats, but they say don't let a black cat cross your path. What if a white cat crosses your path? Is that good luck? No one's ever said that one. Don't let moonlight shine on your washing, or there'll be the clothes for a funeral. Do not marry in May. The reason you're not supposed to get married in May stems back to ancient Rome. In Rome, they would celebrate their dead in May. It was the entire month. Romulus had decreed that May would be the celebration for his brother, Remus, who had died. And the idea is that the 2 celebrations are not supposed to overlap. The dead might take offense at you having a happy day when they're supposed to be honored, and they'll take it out on you somehow. This could explain why June is the popular month to get married in. All those people not getting married in May, they're all piled up waiting for June to arrive so they can get hitched. You're not supposed to put shoes on the table. I wonder if this includes when your feet are still in them, because once in a while I like to kick back and put my feet up on the edge of the table, but it says don't put new shoes on the table. Also, don't put shoes on a table or a counter. What are you supposed to do when you're buying new shoes at a shoe store? You walk up to the checkout counter. Where are you going to place those shoes? They're going to go on the counter right next to the cash register. Well, maybe it is unlucky because now you got to give the checkout person your money. Don't step on a crack. Rumor has it that you'll break your mother's back, but I hate to think that that one's true. Don't sweep don't sweep dirt out the front door after the sun goes down, or bad luck will come to your home. Don't sweep over anyone's feet, and especially don't mop hot tar over anyone's feet. I used to be a hot tar roofer in Houston many moons ago, and the guy that handled the mop once in a while would get upset with me for various reasons, me being the foreman. And so to show his displeasure, he would take that 600-degree hot tar mop and just run that thing right across the toe of my shoe just to show me what he thought of me. Now I know he did this on purpose because that guy could move that mop like nobody's business. Don't mop over somebody's foot with hot tar. It's kind of unpleasant. It didn't bring him any bad luck. I didn't fire him, but boy, that hurt. Dream of a birth, and someone is going to die. Dream of a death, and a baby is coming. Dream the same thing 3 times and it will come true. I hope not, because I keep dreaming that I'm back at work. Eating fish is supposed to make you smart. Evil spirits can't harm you when you're standing inside of a circle. Now, there are lots of stories about using salt poured in a circle as a means of protection. If the owl woman is pursuing you, you're supposed to get a container of it's uniodized salt. Pour it in a big circle around your house to keep the owl woman out of your house. For good luck, wear new clothes on Easter. And if you find a 4-leaf clover, those are supposed to be good luck as well. Garlic is supposed to protect from evil spirits and vampires. Goldfish in the house bring bad luck, but goldfish in the pond bring good luck. You're supposed to hold your breath whenever you pass a graveyard, or you may lose your soul. If a bird flies into your house, a death will occur. Probably the birds, but shouldn't fly into the house. If a flying bird hits your window and dies, someone will die soon. If all the biscuits, which are to us cookies, in England they call them biscuits, if all of the biscuits were gone before the next day, the weather would be fair. In other words, I think the kids came up with that one. Yeah, we got to eat all the cookies, make the weather look good tomorrow. If all the food on the table is eaten, it will be a clear day tomorrow. That's what you tell your children whenever you're having something nasty and horrible for dinner, like raw liver and onions. If an important object from someone cracks, it's a bad omen for that person. If bird poop lands on you, it's supposed to be good luck. Now, I remember one day up in Dallas, we were up there for an EMS conference. We were walking along the sidewalk, and there's a tree stuck out over the sidewalk, and you could see about an inch of white nastiness on the sidewalk from all the birds up in that tree. Well, me and Doug, we walked under the tree real quick, got to the other side, and we escaped any hazardous waste. But Renee, who he paused for just a second. He came along behind us, maybe 2-3 seconds behind, and, well, his black shirt turned white real fast. He got pooped on by about 3 or 4 big fat pigeons. I need to get with him and find out if he had some good luck after that. I think maybe he did, because he became a supervisor right after that, I believe. We're going to take a brief pause, play some commercials, and drink some coffee. We'll be right back after these messages. Don't go away. You're listening to Strange Things with Chris James. Do you have skin? Would you like to take better care of it? Call Lourdes James, independent beauty consultant, and set up an appointment. Call 723-3019. If your vision isn't what it used to be, and you're not sure you're seeing Bigfoot or just your neighbor mowing his lawn, stop on by Del Norte Optical, 107 Calle del Norte, just across the street from the Embassy Suites. You should be able to see what you're looking at. Looking for a great cup of Java? Seeking out that perfect cup of Joe? Swing on by the Organic Man Coffee Shop. 1002 Iturbide, Suite number 7. They have the best coffee on the planet. They also have hot tea, hot chocolate, pastries if you can find them before the kids eat them all. Great place to have a conversation with your friends or just simply sit back and read a book. 1002 Iturbide, Suite number 7, the Organic Man Coffee Shop. Remember, life is too short to drink bad coffee.
No, don't say goodbye. Stay with us. This is Arcanelza Radio. Quédate con nosotros. Estás escuchando Arcanelza Radio.
You're listening to Arcanasa Radio. And welcome back. There are some rather interesting superstitions out there, and so far we've covered some of the more interesting ones. Here's one for you. If you live someplace where you usually don't hear a train whistle, and suddenly hear it, the weather is getting ready to change. Now, if you live somewhere where there are no railroad tracks and you hear a train coming, the weather is changing. You're experiencing a tornado. I have experienced a few tornadoes, and yes, they sound just like a train going by without the whistle. If you pee in the road, you will get a sty in your eye. I wonder how they figured that one out. If you see a black spider, a stranger is coming. If you shiver, someone is casting a shadow on your grave. If you sneeze, cover your mouth so your soul won't fall out. If you spill salt, pick some of it up and throw it over your left shoulder to stop bad luck from coming. If you look closely at the Leonardo da Vinci painting of the Last Supper, you can see that Judas has knocked over the salt container with his elbow. Thanks to Judas Iscariot, spilling salt is associated with treachery and lies. If you do spill salt, a pinch thrown over your left shoulder is supposed to blind the devil who is waiting there. If you start out and go back somewhere, if you start to go somewhere and come back for something, you will have bad luck. If you sweep under a person's feet, that person will never get married. If you turn 3 times in a circle in a dark room, lit by candles, and say Bloody Mary the whole time, you will call her spirit to you. Historically, the ritual encouraged young women to walk up a flight of stairs backwards while holding a candle and a hand mirror in a dark house. As they gazed into the mirror, they were supposed to be able to catch a view of their future husband's face. There was, however, a chance they would see a skull or the face of the Grim Reaper instead, indicating they were destined to die before they would have the chance to marry. In the ritual of today, Bloody Mary allegedly appears to individuals or groups who ritualistically invoke her name in an act of catotromancy. Too many P's and T's. I'm not that superstitious, but there are some things I just don't do. And that's one of them. You're supposed to stand in the bathroom, in a dark room, with your face close to the mirror, and you're supposed to invoke Bloody Mary, and she is supposed to come visit you. Now, whether she shows up looking like a human or she shows up looking like a skull means different things. You're on your own if you want to try that one. I have never tried it. Some things are best left to the experts to try. Let the scientists figure that one out. The lore surrounding the ritual states that participants may endure the apparition screaming at them, cursing them, sometimes even strangling them, trying to steal their soul. And sometimes Bloody Mary is said to try to drink your blood or scratch your eyes out. The modern legend of Hanako-san in Japan strongly parallels the Bloody Mary mythology. If you wash your clothes on the last Friday of the year, you will wash out a member of your family. If your ear begins to itch or burn, someone is talking about you. If your index finger itches, you should go play the lottery. Or you should stop playing with the poison ivy. If your nose itches, someone is coming that you know. It is bad luck to chase someone with a broomstick. How about if you chase someone on a broomstick? Is that bad luck? It is bad luck to sing at the table. It is bad luck to sleep on the table. It is bad luck to leave a house through a different door than the one you used to come in through. Now, I am about as guilty of that as a person can be, and I don't know that I've had any bad luck. I have gone out through the front door and come in through the side. I've gone out through the side door and come in through the back door. I don't know if this is bad luck for me, but so far nothing catastrophic has happened. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Keep a shallow bowl of water at your kitchen window to keep out evil coming in through the glass. Evil is not supposed to be able to cross over water. Keep garlic hanging in the doorway of your kitchen to keep out all people who wish you harm. Killing a cricket is bad luck. Lift your feet up when driving over the railroad tracks for good luck. Then you get hit by the train. Never begin a task on Friday that you can't finish that week or expect ill. Never say thank you when someone gives you a plant or it will die. Never shut a pocket knife someone else has opened. They must shut it themselves. I remember the captain of the fire department I used to be at. He was crazy about that one. If you handed him a pocket knife, he'd hand it back exactly the way it was, blade open or blade closed. And if you didn't close the knife before handing it back to him, he wouldn't take it. Never tickle a baby's feet because it will make them stutter, or it'll make them laugh. Also, don't cut their fingernails for several months, or the same thing will happen. It is said our fate is written in the stars. Now, I don't think a whole lot about predestination. I don't think that no matter what you do, the outcome is going to be the same. But I think if you look up at the stars, you can kind of figure out if you're going in a bad direction and maybe do something about it. Change the direction you're heading in. Not so much predestination as if you don't knock that nonsense off, bad things are going to happen. Or if you continue on the path you're on, good things may happen. Place old baby shoes in the attic to prevent witches from stealing your baby. The witches are supposed to be confused by the odor and take the shoes instead of the baby. Witches must have really bad eyesight. Placing a hat on the table is bad luck. Placing a hat on the bed is bad luck. Placing keys on a table means bad luck. Plaster or stone lions or dragons at the front of the stairs will frighten away demons. Playing with fire, you will pee the bed at night. Now, there is a theory among some psychologists that pyromaniacs are alleged to have been bedwetters when they're into their teens. They have a problem in bed, and they grow up to be pyromaniacs. Now, I don't know if this is still an accepted idea, but back in the 80s and 90s, this was accepted fact. You're supposed to put a pair of open scissors under your pillow for good luck and to keep away evil spirits. But be careful if the tooth fairy comes by, he'll poke his finger on the scissors or something. See a ghost of yourself and you will soon die. Share a pillow with a dog and you will have the same dream. I'm going to have to ask all my friends with dogs who sleep in their bed if they've had doggy dreams here lately. Spikes should be placed at the ends of the gables of a house to prevent witches from landing on the roof. This is the origin of finials seen on the gable ends of older houses. They're originally not meant as decorations. The number of frogs in August predict the number of snowstorms the following winter. I have seen some ponds with hundreds of frogs in them. I hope that doesn't mean we're going to have hundreds of snowstorms. But being in Laredo, Texas, it's not a problem. To kill an albatross is to cause bad luck to the ship and all upon it. The Tale of the Ancient Mariner from 1834. It goes, I shot the albatross with my crossbow, and he is now condemned to travel the rest of his life. Instead of a cross hanging from his neck, he has a dead albatross, which albatross are pretty darn big birds, and starts to rot, he's going to start to stink, and this guy's not going to get a date. To refuse a kiss under mistletoe causes bad luck. Now, what's the deal with mistletoe? The legend behind kissing under mistletoe comes from the Norse mythology. It is said there was a god named Baldar. He had a premonition about his death, and he knew he was going to be murdered. His mother Frigg was worried about this and made every living thing promise they would not kill her son. The only thing she left out was the mistletoe. Loki, an evil god who knew about this, wanted to exploit the opportunity. He attended an assembly in Valhalla where all the gods were taking turns shooting arrows at Baldar for fun. After all, nothing could kill him. They were in awe when they saw that nothing would penetrate his skin. Loki handed Holdar, Baldar's blind brother, an arrow made from mistletoe and asked him to take a shot. The arrow killed Baldar. For 3 days after his death, every living thing came trying to revive him, but to no use. Finally, he was revived by Frigg and the mistletoe itself. Frigg's tears became little white berries on the mistletoe plant, and she said that anyone who stood under the mistletoe would never be harmed and would be entitled to a kiss. There are many different endings to the legend. One says that Baldar was never revived and was given a Viking's funeral, and people are waiting for him to come back to start a new era. Whatever the version, the common fact is that Frigg swore that mistletoe would never harm anyone and made it the symbol of love. 2 deaths in a community will be followed by a third. Walk past a pole with someone. It is bad luck to split up and each go around on a different side of it, especially if you're wearing handcuffs at the time. I've seen it. 2 guys running from the police. They were handcuffed together. They decided to go on opposite sides of a light pole, and, well, they were caught shortly thereafter. Walking with one shoe on and one shoe off will make you have some kind of leg or foot problem. True, because one leg is going to be about 2 inches shorter than the other. Washing a car will bring rain. Now, I don't know how many times I've washed my truck, and sure enough, it started to rain. Wearing your birthstone will bring you good luck. When someone dies in a house, cover up all the mirrors, or their ghost will become trapped. If you hang a horseshoe up on the wall, you're supposed to hang it so that the prongs are pointed upwards. If something happens where the horseshoe breaks loose and it swings around and it's pointed downwards, that will cause bad luck. The idea is that the luck is supposed to get trapped inside the horseshoe. When you speak of good luck, you're always supposed to knock on wood. If you cut your hair or your fingernails at night, ghosts will come around. If you drop a dish towel on the floor, a worse housekeeper than yourself is coming to visit you. If you drop a fork, a man will come and visit you. And if you drop a spoon, then it's supposed to be a woman coming to the door. Well, that's our show for tonight. Hope you enjoyed some of these bizarre, interesting superstitions throughout the planet. The funny thing is, there are so many people out there that claim they are not superstitious. And yet there are things that they will not do. I know when I was working in the emergency room as a paramedic, you didn't say, "Gee, it's quiet in here." You're tempting fate. Once again, suddenly everybody on the planet would show up at the emergency room needing your attention. You're also not ever supposed to say, what else can happen after a bunch of bad things have gone wrong? Once again, bad things are going to go wrong again, only worse. So, that's our show for tonight. Next Saturday, we will be talking about Edgar Cayce. He was known as the Sleeping Prophet. If there's not a strange thing on this planet, Edgar Cayce was extremely unusual. I admire the man, so next Saturday, Edgar Cayce, the Sleeping Prophet. Tune in and listen up.
Are you coming to the tree where they strung up a man, the same murder three? Strange things that happen here, how stranger would it be if we met at midnight in the hanging tree?